Hi guys, Luca from Sabre Airsoft here with a relatively short video as I'm doing this on my lunch break, but it's one that I know is quite in demand at the minute, which is the VMP to disassembly video. I'm not going to completely disassemble the trigger assembly or the hop-up unit, as I just straight up don't have the time at the minute, but I will show you what you need to do in order to do so and some of the pitfalls that you might encounter if you are not prepared. I'm going to go from front of the replica to the back of the replica, and then top to bottom. That is just purely for simplicity's sake, and I will chapter this as well so you can just skip to the part that you want. So starting with the front, we have the flash hider. Flash hider is held on by 3 grub screws. They are, I believe, 1.5s. They are indeed 1.5mm Allen bits. Make sure you back them out sufficiently, otherwise you will scratch up your threads. So once you have backed them off, it should unscrew counterclockwise quite easily. Sorry, wrong, clockwise. It is a 14mm counterclockwise thread, as the same on the VMP1. Unscrew them and then unscrew your flash hider. Like so. There is a O-ring in there to help keep it under tension that you can remove if you want, but that will leave a gap. Moving on. Next, we're going to do the sight. The top sight is a 3 or 3.5. Just double check. 3mm is sufficient. 3mm Allen bit. With these, you will need to completely remove the screw in order to slide the sight off. So do bear that in mind. And then put to one side. As always, when removing things, if possible, screw them back in together to save yourself some time later on, and to save you losing them. And remove the rear sight while I'm at it. Same again, 3mm. The nut may come out when you do this. That is normal. Again, just screw it back in so you don't lose it. And that's how you get the sights off. Next, the grip. This is the VMP2D, so there are 6 screws. However, if you've got the 2M or M, there will only be the 2. These 2 here. You may have grub screws, so you may need to back those out as well. If you are with the M or the MD, I believe that is a much bigger Allen bit there. Let's double check. Yeah, that is a 4mm Allen bit. And the smaller grub screw is most likely a 2 or a 2.5. It is a 2. So the grub screws on this one are 2, and the bigger ones are a 4. As for the VMP2D, I believe they're a 3mm. Yep, 3mm Allen bit. There are 6 screws, and all 6 of them also have a washer underneath. Do not lose that, as that helps keep it in there and stops it from working its way out. And bear in mind that I've had this apart quite a few times now and trying to make sure that I get this video right. And also because I'm nosy. I like to know how things work. So don't lose those washers. Once you remove those, you can just slide it off. This one I know has caught a few people off guard, the barrel nut. You'll need an armourer's wrench. You can get away with using your hand. Mine was quite loose when I got it. But if it isn't, you will need an armourer's wrench. Specifically, you'll need this part, the C-clamp or C-wrench. And then you'll need to turn it away from you. So it's a normal thread. You just put it into one of the holes in the centre, into the catches, and then go away from you. Once you unscrew that, it's quite a long thread, you can remove the outer barrel. Inside of the barrel nut, there are two washers that you need to watch out for. They are very thin, but they are required, so don't lose those. If you've got the M or the MD, you might have a different barrel nut which will have a groove along it instead of these screw holes. If you wish to put this onto the D, you will need to get that alternate barrel nut. You will also need to remove this tiny tab here, which can be accessed once you remove the upper from the lower. At this point, you can unscrew the inner barrel, unless of course you change the barrel. This barrel extension can then be swapped for the shorter version if you wish, or to replace it if it's damaged. Put that to one side. This does come apart as well, I believe, although I've not done so yet. There is a crush ring under there. That's for if you want to put the dress-up kit barrel on. Let me just have a quick look to see if I can figure out how that might be. I believe it's just a case of grip here and then rotate this. Could be wrong, let's find out. One, two, nope, and I've already scratched my outer barrel up. Fun. It is going to be on there quite tight from the factory. And I am going to leave it for now because I don't have the time. But they are two separate pieces. It's the most important aspect. Right, moving on. Take off your two charging handles, if you've got two, like I do in my case, because I bought a dress-up kit. If not, you'll just have the one. Remove it. Like so. Now to remove the hop-up unit, it is just this here. Do note, some people have had the clicker go flying out on them. To avoid that, you need to remove this screw here, which is a 2, I believe. Let's try a 2.5. 2.5 mil. Unscrew. Keep your finger on the front here as you do this, as it will push itself back. Once that's done, I think that might be magnetic. I can't quite recall. No, you can't use a magnet to pull it out. So just carefully tilt the gun forward so it slides out. As I say, be careful, as there is a captive spring inside. That shouldn't go anywhere, but just in case, keep your finger on it as you pull it out. When you put it back in, it should be facing with the notch upwards. Once you've done that, unscrew the hop adjustment screw, pull it out, and you should be able to just pull your hop up assembly out. If you want to change the hop rubber, it is 4 screws here. They are Phillips heads and an O-ring there, and it just comes apart. Very easy to do. Moving along, we now need to separate the upper from the lower. Despite what you may think, it is not just the 2 bolts. There is a screw here and a screw here. First, this is the way I do it. The Vorsk official one might say otherwise. I remove the 2 bolts first. as I find it easier then to work with the screws afterwards. If you haven't got a bench block, highly recommend them. They are great for just lifting up so you can knock them through. They are retained, so don't worry too much about pushing them all the way through, although I like to. Again, done this a couple times now. There we go. Once you've done that, then you can remove the two screws, which I believe were a bit bigger. Yep, they are 4mm. One at the top with a washer, and then one at the bottom. Once you've removed the pins and the screws, the top will just come away. To get your bolt carrier group out, inside here you'll see this screw. So I'll just get some better lighting there. There is a screw inside here. You do not need to remove that, and you do not need to remove the rubber back buffer. If you do need to remove the rubber back buffer, it is this pin here. And if you want to make it super easy to remove the bolt carrier group, you can remove that, though it is not necessary. Pull the guide rod back with the recoil spring, and then just edge it through until it comes out. And that is your upper receiver. As I say, if you want to put the alternate handguard on for the D, you need to remove this tab and use the other nut, barrel nut. As for the bolt, I'm not going to completely disassemble this, as I've done it a few times now and it is starting to show signs of the fact that I've done it a few times. The things to note are, if you want to remove the recoil rod, you need to remove this pin here at the front, which is just press fit. It should come out quite easily. Be careful as you do, as it is going to go flying. Once you do that, obviously then you can remove that. There's a C-clip there for the spring if you want to remove the spring that way. And next thing, if you want to remove and change the nozzle, there is a roll pin in here. And I really do mean roll pin. Do not use ordinary punches, use a roll pin punch. Once you remove that, under here is the piston head. At the back, there will be a very small pin which is holding the nozzle return spring in. Push that through, it's under very little tension, and you should be able to then remove the nozzle. Okay, moving on to the lower receiver. To get the trigger group out, we don't need to remove the grip, though we are going to remove the grip because that is something I can do, and it is a 4mm, I think. Yep, 4mm screw. Keep going until you feel it's loose and remove. I keep the screw inside when I do this. Something else to note is there is a nut that lives in there. I would advise removing it before continuing and putting it to one side, otherwise you will probably lose it. So, removing the trigger group, you need to remove both fire selectors, the paddle, and the mag catch, which are all, I believe, 2s or 2.5. So, fire selectors are 2.5. As you can tell, I only have some of the dress-up kit on, and that is because I am missing some of it in my order, but New Prol, being awesome like they are already on it. Paddle is smaller. I believe that might just be a straight 2 rather than the 2.5. Yep, that's 2mm. One singular screw. Once you've removed it, just lift off and it's done. Once you've done that, you need the mag catch, which is again a straight 2mm. This side will come out as one small piece like so. The other side has a spring attached. Don't lose the spring. Once you've done that, you should be able to just lift the trigger assembly up. Be careful as you do this, as the pins are not under a lot of tension and they will slide back and forth. So I'm not going to disassemble this any further on account of some of the troubles I had getting it back together, though I will point out one thing, which is before you remove the hammer or anything else, in order to get to this, you need to remove the hammer and everything else. Push the hammer back down. Once you do that, you will be able to hopefully see that there is a small hole. Let's see if I can get the right angle here. In the back of this bar, there is a hole. Stick a pin through that and hold it there. That will keep the hammer under tension and then work around the hammer. Because believe me, getting that back in is not fun. In order to get it back in, there is a 45-degree shelf here, and you need to, without anything else in there, compress the spring, which doesn't like to be compressed, with the straight, down and push the hammer through the slot that's there, and then pin it. So if that happens to you, that's how you get it back in. Otherwise, I'd advise just pinning it before you even take anything apart. Now, if you have the M and want to, the M and the MD, and you want to turn them into single fire only, semi-locked, you can do. You can buy this separately, all as one unit. As you can see here, this is the full auto version, and it all comes pre-assembled, very nice and easy to drop in. Okay, once you've done that, you are pretty much on the home stretch. You'll see that there is 1 and 2 retaining clips in there. That is for the body pins. On the stock, if you have the M or MD, it should be the same as any other stock, where you just pull the lever down and slide off. If you have the D, it is obviously slightly different, but it is possible to remove it, and you'll be happy to know that there is an ordinary buffer tube underneath. 4mm once more. In my case, I didn't put it on quite right. It should have been a little bit further forward. So once you've got that undone, I am going to have to push mine through with hammer and pin, because I was a little bit enthusiastic putting it back together. Just got to get it over that hole. Do that might work better. There we go. Once you've got the screw out, you can then just slide the stock off, slide this retaining part here, and you are left with your buffer tube. If you want to change your buffer tube, again, you will need a armourer's wrench, specifically this section here, as it is a castle nut. Line the notches up. Oh, apologies, I forgot that there was an O-ring there. There is an O-ring on the D version. I'm not sure if that's present on the M or MD. Loosen the nut off. Then remove this locking panel here, and then you can unscrew. And that, folks, is how you disassemble the VMP2 to assemble reverse. Anyway, I hope that helps. I might do a more detailed video disassembling this one in the future when I've got a bit more patience and time. I don't have that today, so this is the end of the video. I will have a full review posted at some point soon. I want to give this a fair chance and take it out in the field and give it a proper test before I do my review. Anyway, that's it. Catch you on the next one.